Right now, I'm driving a 2018 Tesla Model S 100D long range with autopilot, and this is how I got it. So, for those of you that have never, driven a Tesla or don't know much about it, and there's a lot of people that are afraid to have a car that's fully electric, that totally give up the gas station. But these new Teslas, they have such a long range. You don't even really think about it. I mean, you can go to work and back and plug the car in once every couple days and it's fine. And there's superchargers everywhere. So a customer of mine wanted me to find him a Tesla, and I told him that the Tesla is not like a normal car that I can buy, salvage, fix, and give to you. I actually bought a Tesla for my wife about 5 years ago, and they made it really difficult for me to rebuild the car. When they found out that it was salvage, they blocked me from buying any parts for it. And whenever you're buying a wrecked car, you always have to buy little stuff from the dealer. It makes the process go by faster versus searching around for every little part used. So I told my customer, I'm like, I can find you a Tesla wrecked and fix it for you, but it's got to be a clean title wrecked Tesla, because in that way they can't block me from buying parts for the car. So took a decent amount of time. We looked for about 6 months, and then we came across this beautiful blue 2018 Model S 100D long range, which was exactly what he wanted, in the same color as what he wanted. It was perfect. It was hit. It looked bad enough where it wasn't going to go for big money, but it was also, to me, when I looked at it, I thought that it was very easily repairable. I saw that no airbags deployed, windshield was intact. I saw that there was no obvious frame damage to the car. Usually when the windshield is cracked, unless it was from some rock or something, if it's cracked from the accident, that means that the hit got all the way up to the firewall. So then that means that it was pretty bad. We bought it from Nebraska, and it was shipped out to California, and it was pretty difficult actually to move this thing around because the left front suspension was totally just dangling from the car. Whenever a car's crippled like this car was, we have to use a forklift. And believe it or not, this car is super heavy. The forklift almost tipped over. So that was kind of an adventure in itself. But once the car was in place and we started the repair process, it was a smooth repair. The hood was pretty damaged, but we ended up getting it straight. This door we changed, this fender we changed, and the back door we repaired. And the bumper we also repaired. Pretty much everything on this car was just unbolt replacement parts, meaning if you have mechanical knowledge of cars, you could have repaired this car. The only thing that was a little tricky was the piece that holds the fender in place, which is not integral to the car's safety at all, or it's just literally this one aluminum piece that holds the fender in place. We took a flexible piece of aluminum, molded it in the same direction as the factory part, welded it in place, primered and paint. That was the only thing that required kind of a body, from a bodywork standpoint. There was a lot of parts on these cars that were stolen, that were totally unrelated to the accident. So whoever stole those parts, you made my job a lot more difficult. They stole the yaw rate speed sensor, which is a pretty important part. It's kind of like what calculates like the car stability in order to, if the car, God forbid, rolls over. So anyway, they stole that, which is such a great deal of work to steal a $100 part. Stole the radar sensor in the front, and they did just some weird things. Like somebody disconnected the ABS module in the front, and they just left the plug dangling, and it kind of damaged the plug a little bit. I was able to replace that one harness, but But yeah, if it had just been left in the accident state, this car would have been done a lot quicker. So that's the problem when you guys buy these wrecked cars. Always, you know, look at the car really carefully, because those missing parts, sometimes it costs you an arm and a leg. You know, finding the parts are very inexpensive. I was actually surprised, like the prices of parts were one of the cheapest I've seen, at least for body parts. The car was just pretty much flat on the ground. I mean, this car has the airbag suspension. There was no power going to the air suspension pump. So I unplugged it, I reset the controls on the car, plugged it back in, and then it worked. So then the car started to raise up, which was a beautiful moment for me, because driving it around, you can't go very far when the car is slammed to the ground like that. Another thing that was kind of interesting in the repair is that while I was fixing it, the car did not have power steering. I mean, imagine driving this boat of a car with no power steering, kind of maneuvering in a smaller shop. And that was because somebody stole the yaw rate speed sensor, and for some reason that activates the power steering. So I couldn't steer I had to use all my strength to steer the car. Once we figured that all out, and once I put everything back together, I charged it, and it started right up. We decided to go with a DuPont paint and a DuPont clear. The paint on this car was actually very similar to the R8 that we rebuilt. Almost identical. It's almost like you can use the R8 touch-up paint for this car. This one, we ended up almost painting the whole car. There's just little scratches everywhere, like even on the side that wasn't hit. So we pretty much just painted the whole car, and I'm happy with it. I mean, it came out really nice. We painted the wheels Range Rover gray. I thought it was a great choice. It went well with the blue, and it just, you know, gave the car a little bit more character, I think. The hardest part about this car was the diagnostics, because Tesla, they kind of have a sole proprietorship over their diagnostic software. So it's not like BMW or Mercedes, where it's pretty easy to you know, plug in a scanner and figure out what's wrong with it. Because whenever you rebuild a car, there's always going to be fault lights, no matter what, that you either need to reset or something is, you know, not right. So that was the hardest part, that I didn't have that diagnostic software. There's always something with a car, right? I mean, when you rebuild a car that's been in a, you know, kind of a severe accident, there's always some roadblock that you have to overcome with the car. And this one was pretty smooth. I mean, besides the couple of little parts that the people stole, it was a smooth repair, and I'm happy with it. To see subscribers and to see likes, and it's fun. I love doing this, so I hope that you enjoy it too, and I hope that you watch our next video, because I got a special surprise for you. So, little side story here. So when I met my wife, she loved Tesla, and this was before Tesla was really mainstream. And it was kind of like an oddball car at the time. It first come out with the Model S. So anyway, I tried to find one. I knew I was going to marry this woman, so I tried to find one. And I found one, and I bought it, and I fixed it for her. And that's actually how I proposed to her. So I guess the Tesla is kind of special in that way. always remind me of, like, you know, my beginning, I guess, of marriage.